All right, let's talk about your schedule, a homeschooler's schedule. So, if you've just pulled your kids out, regardless of age, okay, your schedule is going to look a lot different. You're used to getting up at 7, 6, 7, 8 in the morning, going to school until 3, bringing them home. When you're homeschooled, that doesn't work. Remember, your kids aren't sitting at a desk all that time. They are doing a 30-minute lesson and then there'll be an activity, they'll read, they'll go to PE, they sit for an hour in line, they have recesses. They are up and moving, call I hope. Um, and so as a homeschooler, I don't know what we think public school was like. It's funny, it's like we've forgotten. But your child does not need that much time. When they're home, they don't need a 30-minute to an hour lesson because you're one-on-one. They need 10 minutes for that because you can see it click in their eyes and you're done. Or you can continue the conversation all day long on a topic. Awesome. So the first thing you need to do is think throughout the schedule. Okay, I have written hundreds of schedules for my kids. I should have brought them up for you. I saved some of them just to laugh at myself. I even created these little uh, glass uh, picture frames with papers that slid inside so we could draw on the outside with dry erase markers so they could check off their work because at 9 a.m. you're doing this and at 10 a.m. you're doing this and at 11 a.m. you're doing this. That worked for one day. And then guess what? Kids don't work by clocks. Neither do our bodies, neither do our sleep, neither do life is not judged by a clock. Children don't work clockwork. They are do not work like clockwork. So what we learned was rhythms. Let me explain what I mean by that. Okay. Your children will wake up in the morning. I'm going to give you first the rhythms of my younger children when they were little. The first 10 years, this is what it was like. They were little, they would get up early. Generally, too early for me because I had been up all night with a baby. And so, what I would do is I would set out Legos or special like Magna blocks, learning toys that they were not allowed at any other time. I would leave them out where they would see them with a box of some granola bars, maybe some apples, something that they could eat when they got up. I would leave those out before after they went to bed at night and I'd go to bed. I would wake up when I woke up because my kids would get up. They would see the toys. They would start to play. They would see their snacks and they got a little hungry and they would eat their snacks and they would play quietly to eat with each other. As soon as I would hear them fight, I would get up. I could hear them. They weren't alone. Okay. I was being a good mom. And then when I would get up, it was like, okay, you're fighting. It's time for breakfast. So I would get up. They'd join me at the counter. I'd make breakfast, would chat. And sometimes it was a topic I could teach at the kitchen while I was cooking, and sometimes it wasn't. By the way, a whiteboard inside your kitchen cupboards, because you can open a kitchen cupboard, do a little lesson while you're cooking with them, shut the cupboard door, and you don't have a messy kitchen. Try that. Or one of those what do they call chalkboards? So good for the inside of your kitchen cupboards. So we're sitting having conversations. We have breakfast. When breakfast is over, what guys, sometimes this was 8 in the morning, sometimes it was 7 in the morning, sometimes it was 10. We went with it. So after breakfast, it's math. As soon as you're done, go get your math books. They got out, they would get their math books. Everybody sat at the table and we did math. Everybody was on a different level. But guess what else happened? When I didn't have a baby to nurse or feed or go after, I would sit down with my own math book because when they saw me doing math, they wanted to do math. And so I would sit down with a math book. And when my first kindergarten was starting, I started with first and second grade math, and I went all the way through to see if I had any holes. By the time I'd been through that book with the first kid, I started going more advanced with each child. So they started to see me doing more advanced math. And I taught myself all over again math while they were doing math. And yeah, I got interrupted all the time. And mom, how do I? And we would do that. Now, we didn't have computers at that stage. I actually kept computers away from my kids for the first 10 years. We just did everything in books. So they'd get out their books, we'd do our math. Sometimes it was math games, sometimes it was just manipulatives, sometimes it was our books. But either way, we did math right after breakfast. And right after math, it was writing. They got out their journals. Some kids were learning their ABCs. Some kids were learning cursive. Some kids were learning how to write full sentences. Some kids were doing journal writing. They all got out their writing and everybody wrote. And then when the writing was done, it was break time because usually that's all they could do for the time. And it was, okay, go play till lunch. So they would go and play until I called lunch. When lunch came back, they came in, sat, and ate lunch while I read a book. Guess what? Well, their mouths are full. They're listening. So we would, or I would read a book, or we'd have a really good chat and then talk. After lunchtime is quiet time. Everybody get a book and get on your bed. If you don't stay on your bed and read, you can sleep, but you must stay there. If you don't, you're going to clean bathrooms. You only have to really hold them to that once or twice and they get it, and they'd rather be on their beds than cleaning another bathroom. FYI, if they have to clean that bathroom, you turn them into little slaves. You make sure that bathroom is so perfect, they never want to do it again. Okay? Don't let them get away with it. But then the next time you say, okay, you can clean mom's way or you can lay down and read a book. All my kids fell in love with reading during this hour, even the ones who didn't want to read. The kids who couldn't read on their own, I would put on an audiobook for them. But mom got a nap with the baby. That's how it happened. And sometimes it was 10 minutes. But as they got older, they learned if they were really quiet and kept reading, mom would sleep for an hour or two and they could get more reading in. And they started working on their quiet so mom could sleep so they could be free longer. It works. After quiet time, they would get up and it would be creative time. That this was their chance to be able to play outside, build tree houses, arts and crafts, Lego. Um, Ideally, they would listen to an audiobook while doing so if it was an activity they could do that with. If it wasn't, I would turn on classical music throughout the house while they did their creative stuff. They loved these hours, thrived on them. The things my children created and built, I could have never come up with on my own. This was creative time. And the deal is, if you're in the middle of the project and it can't be cleaned up before dinner, it just has to be done on your creative table. They can do it on their table. And as long as you get back to it every day, it stays out. But if after 1 week you haven't touched it, it gets cleaned up. That was our rule because I couldn't handle the mess for too long. So we would clean up. Dad would be coming home around 5 or 6. He would call me. He was about 20 minutes away and call me, say, hey, I'm on my way home. And I'd be like, we're cleaning. And we would clean the house. My kids learned very quickly how to clean the house quickly. We made dinner. We laughed. We giggled. Dad came home. We had dinner. When we were done with dinner, it was daddy reading time. Dad pulled out a book and read out loud. He has read so many great classics to our kids. They would pull out Legos, the coloring books, clay, you name it, something to keep their hands busy and sit and listen to dad reading for an hour. We would have family scripture time and then it was bedtime. That's literally how every day went, other than like co-op day, which was Thursdays when we'd go out and have friends, and Fridays was like day off, so we didn't do as much and we just played a little more. But that's generally how our days looked. Those were our rhythms. Notice I didn't tell you one time. I didn't stick to it's 11 o'clock. And we gave ourselves grace when somebody was sick, when mom was sick, when one of the kids were sick. Sick days meant movie days. We all cuddled up in mom's bed and we watched Living Scripture. Living Scripture is an app that has homeschool programs. It has Christian programs. I can literally let my children watch anything on that app and I don't have to worry about it. And so that's why we used it. Scriptures, everything on there. Beautiful app. I highly recommend it. I will put a link in here as well. I'm trying to think how many things I've told you I need a link for and I haven't done yet. Okay, so hope that makes sense. Now, as they have become teenagers, that has shifted. They sleep in till way after breakfast. I don't even make breakfast anymore. I make a nice lunch at 11. They're all up and moving by then. And we start with a lunch and then they kind of start the same pattern. It's just been shifted a little later. And so we're continually shifting. As I had 5 children at home, now I only have 2. Just remember that rhythm will shift. Go with those flows. You'll also find you have yearly rhythms. In the summer, you don't want to sit and read so much inside. You want to be more out and about doing. And in the winter, you don't want to be out and about doing in the cold. You want to be sitting at home reading. And so we would do more science in the summer and more history because it was reading in the winters. And so you'll start to see those ebbs and flows as well. And I have all of this written down in the homeschool roadmap where you can see the actual natural rhythms of a week, month, year. I even show you how to do this around your menstrual cycle because even that needs to shift. When mom is tired versus when mom has energy, those are shifts that you can make as well. And I have all this, don't worry, I've got all of those resources in the resource vault for you guys. And you can grab it there. Planners for all of this just depends on your own personal personality. If you do want to actually plan any of this, I've got planners for all kinds of different types of homeschooling. And you can go look at those as well. My next video is about, we're going to talk about balancing structure and freedom, right? It's like, we'll get there. Next video.